Hi, this is John though, aka Frags with the DNB Academy, and this is the sound that we're gonna be doing today. Yeah, let's flip the screen and get into Serum. Okay, so first thing, we're gonna load our oscillator A, and we're gonna leave it as it is. Just a plain saw wave, that's what we want, but we're gonna tune it down to -3, right? And then we're gonna do the same here, but this time we're gonna tune it just 1 octave lower and 4 semitones, positive 4 semitones here, right? Then we're gonna need to tweak some settings here, but we already have this sort of sound that we're looking for. You know, this is the fundamental part of the sound, but we need to do a couple things more here on our oscillator A and B, especially to make this more interesting. So first thing we're gonna do is actually use our warping mode, and we're gonna use the new Serum to FM function here, and we're gonna bring it, it needs to be super precise here, so we're gonna just leave it at 30. See? We want to create this little cool phasing that happens if we leave it somewhere around here. Then here on the sync, we're going to go to the alternative warp, and we're going to choose flip just for really cool automations you can do later on the patch, but I'm going to leave it as it is just for the time being, okay? Then on the second one, we're gonna turn on our alternative warp again. We're gonna go into a symmetry plus on this one. Also, this is gonna be really cool in later stages, just to add like a macro and apply some cool modulation to it, and I'll show you how to do that as soon as we wrap up the patch, all right? Then we're gonna need a third oscillator here, which is really cool feature that we got now on Serum, and this time we're gonna use one of the new wavetables that we got on Serum. If you go to your digitals, it's gonna be one called DX Brass 2. All right, it's a really cool wavetable that it's gonna help us to add a little bit more of harmonic range here. But we're gonna also tune this to -1 and leave the wavetable position around 35, something like this. And we're gonna pick up the FM from B again, just as we did on wavetable, on oscillator A, I mean. We're gonna increase it up to like 30 as well. Right, cool. Next, we need to make sure that our notes glide between each other, so we need to turn on our always legato and mono, so we can achieve this more natural sound, at least when we're flipping notes. Okay, next step, filter. It's really important. So for this one, we're gonna keep the default one when you load in Serum at MG low pass 12, right? This is more than enough for what we want, because the movement we can add, it's not gonna be like massive, all right? But the filter is gonna do most of it, okay? So next step is to create a shape. So this is gonna be something like stabby. So we're gonna keep something like this, and we're gonna assign this to the cutoff. I'm gonna press Alt, Shift, and left mouse button so I can change the direction, right? And now we're gonna assign also oscillator B, and we we gotta leave oscillator C out of the equation here, and we're gonna keep it just as it is. So now we should be able to have something way more stabby than it was before. Right, cool. So in order for this to work a bit better, we're gonna also move the level of the DX Brass 2 a little bit lower, okay? Not because of anything, but because we're gonna add filter 2 to it, but yeah, we need to make it a little bit quieter. So on filter 2, we're gonna add something a bit more creative, and for that, we're gonna use the new S2 Serum 2 filters, the WSP, and this one is just being assigned to oscillator C. So we're gonna also make it the same shape, increase a little bit of the drive and the morph, like this. It's cool, but then we're gonna modulate both filters at the same time, so we're gonna create like really interesting movements out of the synth. Now, next, we're gonna flip our screen and get into the processing a little bit. First thing, a little bit of distortion. We don't want much, but we're gonna add a slight tape saturation just to warm up the sound a bit. And we're gonna add the movement to the drive. See, it just feels a little bit more natural. And then we're gonna apply a little bit of EQing, all right? So we can roll off some of the low end. Let's bring it down the Q here. In case we want some sub, we can just turn on our sub oscillator, all right? It's way easier and better. And also on this band, we're gonna create a notch just to highlight a little bit of the mids, top mids. We can actually apply the same movement. Nice. Now we're gonna add some compression to it, multi-band mode. And let's slowly boost the bands we want to. Something like this. We can even increase the gain a bit here. All right, and to wrap it up, we're gonna apply the splitter, LH in this case, because I just want to pretty much apply a couple effects on the mids and highs of our sound and not mess around with the lows. So for that, I'm going to apply a little bit of convolve here and choose the mediums and go with something like the 10 M box. See, it's really cool. We can actually use the same movement on the mixer here. Decrease the size, like 30, 40. Make it brighter on the tone. You can try some different ones. But this one sounds really cool to me. Let's just work a bit better here on the crossover point. I want this to be a little bit, maybe a little bit higher here. Somewhere around 500 hertz upwards. Okay. And then to wrap it up, I'm also going to apply just a little bit of reverb. Plate mode. Also automating the mix. Just adjust both. It's cool. Right, now let's flip back to our oscillator tab. And then here, it's going to be up to you. If you want to add a little bit more low end to your patch, just turn on the sub oscillator, bring it down 3 octaves, just select the same shape if you want it, of course. And here on the master, just send it direct out, all right? Or if you want to hear it a bit more, just remove all modulators, just leave it as it is, like. Then we got this fuller and low end on our patch. Then what I was mentioning, just to add a little bit more movement to it in terms of modulation, we're gonna use a macro and we're gonna apply it to a couple parameters. For instance, the flip here, we're gonna just apply it to like 5%. The cutoff of the filter and the FM here as well. And we can already have an effect that sounds something like this. And if you want to spice things up a bit better, you can just go to your effects, to the reverb that we added. We can also apply the macro here, so we can. So yeah, this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!